Never did I think that in this hell, even as a dead person, one still had to contribute their wealth.
What do you offer?
And the rich man took out dozens of pounds of gold, only to see the weight slowly move, the gold gradually outweighing the feather on the right. At this point, the judge of hell was quite satisfied, allowing the rich man to return to the human world, and even letting him be born into a noble family. But when the old lady stepped forward, her wealth was only a ring she had worn for a lifetime with her husband. The result was obvious. The feather was far heavier than the ring. The judge of hell was greatly disappointed, and ultimately took away the old lady's entire memory, letting her vanish into nothingness. Then came the black-haired girl. She had nothing, and could only anxiously wait for her boyfriend in the human world to send something precious. At this time, her boyfriend was risking his life, finding the god he believed in, and helping the god regain his sight, in order to get some treasures from the god. But the god Horus broke his promise, because they had no treasures to give to the blonde guy. It was all a scam, just to restore his own sight as soon as possible. And when the blonde guy learned the truth, he completely broke down, because the god he had believed in since childhood was a liar who told nothing but lies. At this point, the goddess of love, who cared for the people, couldn't stand it anymore, so she summoned Anubis from hell, telling him that the blonde guy was just an ordinary person, and had no treasures to exchange for his girlfriend's afterlife. Therefore, the goddess of love decided to give Anubis her most precious possession, the bracelet she had carried for thousands of years, so that the black-haired girl could have a better afterlife. At this time, Horus begged the goddess of love not to do so. Otherwise, without the protection of the bracelet, the goddess of love would be forever tormented by the demons of hell, and fall into a death-like hell. But the goddess of love was determined, and was extremely disappointed with Horus for deceiving the blonde guy. In the end, the moment she took off the bracelet, she was dragged into the 18th level of hell by the demons. Then, Horus, who had lost the goddess of love, desperately gave the bracelet to the blonde guy, letting him save his lover, and paying a heavy price for the lies he had told. Soon, the blonde guy and Anubis came to hell together. Seeing the black-haired girl's emaciated appearance, he could immediately grant his lover immortality. However, the blonde guy didn't know. Even with the goddess of love's bracelet, his girlfriend would still go to another world, and they would never meet again. In the end, the black-haired girl gave up immortality. But then, hell suddenly encountered a disaster. A huge beast was attempting to devour everything in the world. In a critical moment, Anubis rushed forward to resist the beast's attack, but this was not a long-term solution. Soon, Horus, risking his life, saved his dying grandfather, and the grandfather repelled the beast at the last moment. The world returned to peace. Before leaving, the grandfather, to repay his grandson for saving him, promised to do an impossible thing for Horus. However, Horus did not choose to let the goddess of love return to his side. Instead, he pleaded with his grandfather to allow the fair-haired guy and the dark-haired girl to live in the same world, and fulfill his promise to the mortals. Just like this, the fair-haired guy and the dark-haired girl finally reunited again, and Horus, the god they believed in, eventually did not disappoint them.